All right. Well, welcome back, guys. We are in episode 3. We call it 3B.
I think we're calling it 3B.
3B. Awesome. We've got Han and Jarrett Morgan with us. Last episode we learned so much about Han and his journey of who he is, how he came to be the incredible executive that he is today. And so we're about to jump into Jarrett's story. Jarrett, who the hell are you?
Well, I'm certainly not Han, I'll tell you that. Which is so interesting that you picked up. Han and I are yin and yang.
You guys are yin and yang.
And that's what makes us work, right? Everything about his story and his life, other than the degree that we got, the MIS degree, everything else is pretty much opposite. So I'm going to fast forward a bit. I'm not going to go through when my parents conceived me and all the things that Han did.
Full moon.
It's beautiful.
Nice humid night in Mississippi.
So grew up small town Mississippi. Pretty traditional childhood. Only boy, 3 sisters.
Mm-hmm. Explains a lot.
Explains a lot, right? And so Han's upbringing of rigid background, and that was not my life at all. Mm-hmm. I was not a great kid. I'm just going to be honest with you. I did what I wanted to do.
Yep.
I was lower third of high school class and lucky to be there. I was interested in having a good time and I had a great time. You're not allowed to talk anymore.
How large was your class out of that lower third?
It was a class of 73. And so...
a graduating class or the class room?
Graduating class of 73.
Okay.
Yeah, Boonville, Mississippi. Very small town in Mississippi. And so growing up in small town Mississippi, most of the people that I went to school with had no aspirations of ever leaving that town.
Yeah, small town living.
Small town living. And I'll have to be honest with you, I had no idea what I wanted to be in life, not as a profession, but just who I wanted to be. So fast forward to graduate high school, which I was very fortunate to do, and get to orientation and small little community college in Boonville there, and so I said, how am I going to figure out what I want to be? I came up with this ingenious plan. I got to orientation, said I'm going to find the most beautiful girl at orientation.
That's
solid idea.
Absolutely.
And what she is going to do for the rest of her life, that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so...
And you did all that with 73 kids in orientation?
Yes. And so I spent a good portion of the morning trying to scope out this person, and I found her. Her name was Tammy. And unfortunately, Tammy wanted to be an architect. I said, you know what? She's going to be an architect. I'm going to be an architect.
Now remind me to tell you my Tammy story.
Oh, I can't wait.
There's always a Tammy story.
I can't wait.
Tammy story, but please keep continuing.
So, needless to say, I've never had an art class or drawing class or anything like that. It didn't go very well.
Yeah, Tammy didn't like you.
No, Tammy and I became very close.
He's like, oh, Tammy liked me.
We'll say we became close friends.
She doesn't like you now.
Oh, no. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean...
It's been a while.
Are you Facebook friends? Are you Facebook friends? I'm sorry, actually, is it Instagram? I don't even know what you should be
better
on
now.
this.
Yeah, I don't think we are, as a matter of fact. But, gosh, now can I lay down on the couch and talk about that? I think there's some feelings that I need to explore here. So that's kind of how my college career started, and honestly, it was not a great start. I spent a couple of semesters floundering around.
Where'd you go to college?
So this was at a little small community college in Boonville, Northeast Community College.
Yep.
I had a tennis scholarship there, so I played tennis, and I had a great time, but it lasted for a couple semesters.
So, just like I was saying in a previous, when Han was speaking, I'm shaking with the jokes. And Han is shaking so much, he's readjusting his mic, but his mic does not have to be readjusted. So he has like 50 jokes ready to rapid fire.
Absolutely. Look, and honestly, I deserve all of it because I was there's no other way to describe it. I was a screw up. I mean, there's just no... I spent a couple of semesters trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I was done, dropped out.
Yeah.
So
still play tennis though.
No, oh no, gosh,
you gave that up too?
I became a professional beer drinker, and that's what I did, and had a great time doing that. But
still is.
Yeah. That explains a lot.
Probably could.
Yeah.
And so, fast forward a few years, I had odd jobs here and there, and found myself managing a shoe store, a little sporting goods store in Oxford, Mississippi. I made 19 grand a year, and I asked my boss, hey,
I mean, I was good in 1942.
well, exactly. But I remember clearly this is a very definitive moment in my life because I asked this. Look, I can't make ends meet with this.
Right.
Can you give me a raise? And he said, sure, absolutely. And he gave me $100, $19,100, and I thought at that very moment, I've got to grow up. I've got to change my life.
You gotta figure it out.
Right? I got to figure this out. I'm 22 years old, maybe 23. And, I'm looking around, my friends are being successful and they're getting married and, all right, get it together. And so I was in Oxford. I went down to Ole Miss and started to talk about enrolling in some classes. And I went back to my boss there at the sporting goods store. He said, look, you got a choice. You can work here, you can go to school. And I quit on the spot.
Wow.
Which was for someone that had nothing, was a big moment in my life.
Yeah.
It's almost like you had to make that decision of which path you were going to take at that spot.
Yeah. And you look back at your life at defining moments, and that's one of them. Right? I could have very easily said, you know what, I'm gonna figure this out and spend the rest of my life doing it.
No, that's awesome. I mean, Han had so many defining moments. It took a whole episode.
Yeah, but I got right to it. Right?
I still have more.
Okay, Han, you're done. Got the mic. So that's a very definitive moment in my life, and scary as hell, right? Mm-hmm. So you're starting over again. Everyone in school is 3 years younger than me,
Absolutely.
4 years younger than me,
scary.
And I didn't know what I wanted to be. I knew nothing about technology, so I'm not one of these guys. I was not a gamer. I didn't know anything about.
You're a beer drinker.
I was a beer drinker. I was a partier. I was having fun. I was having a great time.
Tennis player.
Yeah, and a
tennis player. Absolutely, a below average tennis player. And so I thought, what profession, what degree can I get where I can get a job in any city, in any state, in the United States, or maybe in the country, or in the world, excuse me. And so that's where I landed on technology. And so I started to formulate this plan. As a stupid kid, I don't know how in the world this happened, but you get lucky in life. Han mentioned that, you mentioned that, Tracy. You get lucky in life sometimes, and I got lucky. I started to formulate this plan. I was like, okay, how can I put myself near technology so that I can grow this, okay? And so I landed on management information systems. I didn't want to be a computer scientist. I didn't want to, develop code and those sorts of things. I wanted to manage people and be a part of that. So I had that figured out. And so I thought, I'm going to go to the supercomputer building and the network development group there at Ole Miss, and I'm going to work there. How do I get in the door? So I walked in, and I just...
Well, Han could have held the door for you.
Yeah, Han could hold the door, yeah, for hundreds of people,
hundreds of
right?
students.
So I walk in, and I said, hey, I want to work here. What can I do? And I started out by answering the telephone. So when you dialed 0 at Ole Miss, I was the guy that answered the phone.
Can you tell us what that was like?
It was terrible.
Let me hit 0. Hold on, let me hit 0.
University, can I help you?
Do you know?
That is a smooth, sexy voice.
Do you want to know? It would be amazing if there was a recording, and that recording today still was his voice.
That would be fantastic.
You know what?
It would be.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I would have gone to Ole Miss. If I would have called the directory and that voice would have popped out,
a bromance
I would have gone to Ole Miss. I would have not gone to the U. I would have not gone to any of these other schools, BU, any of these other schools. I would have gone to Ole Miss.
You have that much power, Jarret.
I'm sorry, when you said you, what school are you referring to? I'm not quite sure what you're...
Is that a college?
So fast forward, I'm going to do some things that Han didn't do. I'm actually going to cut to the chase. So I parlayed that into an internship with Lucent Technologies. And that really, again, a definitive moment in your life. It changed my life. I can do this. Right? I'm looking around. I started to surround myself with the smartest people in the building and on campus. and that was so huge for me, and I'm still baffled how I, at that age, and as stupid as I was, I had the forethought to say, hey, I need to be around the smart people.
So full disclosure, it doesn't sound like you were stupid. It sounds like you were actually pretty smart because you took something.
I didn't know it. Okay.
Yeah. You didn't, that's fair. You just didn't know it.
I just didn't know
it. Yeah.
But somewhere in my brain.
I feel like you had just watched Waterboy, where he said, "You can do it."
I think Waterboy was him.
Maybe. Probably.
Listen on this or out of that?
Oh, don't even get me.
So, that internship really changed my life. It opened a lot of doors for me, and one of those doors was my first job. And Han talked about his first day at work, and I hate to be that guy that one-ups, but Han, I got you beat, buddy.
Were you 10? Were you 10? Were you 10?
I was not 10. No, I didn't have 100 people working for me.
And he held the back.
Right. So, let me kind of describe the situation that I was in and my senior year in school. Okay, so I'm taking 22 hours. I wanted to graduate in May, so full load as a senior. I am expecting my second child. My son was going to be born in April, so had a lot going on.
Is this
there.
Charlie Morgan?
Charlie Morgan going to be born in April, so I had that happening. I'm graduating in May. I'm a busy guy.
Yeah.
And so I get an opportunity to lead the IT group for a small town there in about an hour north of Oxford. The catch was that I had to start immediately. So this is February. 22 hours of school.
Yeah.
Child that's going to be born.
Oh my goodness.
There's a lot of things happening, and I had to figure out a way to work 40 hours. It could be on my schedule, but I had to work 40 hours.
We can edit this part out, but Tammy's not in the picture anymore.
Tammy's not in the picture anymore. No. We'll come back to that. Okay.
So,
hey, right here's my live chart. You want to lay down?
Yes, absolutely. So, first day of work rolls around. I take this job. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to make 32 grand. How am I ever going to spend that much money? Right? I remember clearly thinking that. Right? And so I'm like, absolutely, I'll take this job. I'll figure it out. So, first day of work rolls around. 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to get up, I'm going to drive all the way to this new job, and I'm going to work for 3 or 4 hours, and I'm going to drive back to school. I mean, I had it all planned out. So I get up, take a shower, forgot to pay the gas bill, or probably couldn't afford to pay the gas bill.
Yep.
Had to take a cold shower in February, so it was terrible.
For the record, that's in, it's like cold plunging, but you need
No,
You're ahead of the game.
I promise you.
Wait. February in Memphis is like what? 70 degrees?
Oh, it was freezing.
Too cold. I get
It
you.
was
I get you.
freezing.
Cold for you, Southern.
Well, he's not in Memphis
Right.
yet. He's still in Mississippi.
Oh,
But
Right.
So it's
still.
even warmer.
It's true.
So there's a lot of pressure on me, right, to succeed with this thing. So I'm taking this cold shower and I'm thinking, oh gosh, this is a terrible way to start the day. Don't screw this up. So I get in my car and I start driving, and my head is just going. You know how it is, Han. You mentioned your mind's racing in 1,000 different directions. And as I'm driving, I'm on this 2-lane road. Mississippi, lucky it's paved.
I was just going to say,
It's paved,
every road
right?
in Mississippi is 2 lanes,
So I
except
get
the
behind
federal
this,
highway.
right? So I get behind this 4-wheel drive pickup truck. Shocker, right?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking,
It would have been better if you said it was a Porsche or something.
No. This is key to the story. Okay, so I'm thinking this truck is going to throw a rock and bust my windshield or whatever. Just the way my day is going. And at that moment, it's clear. I can see it as if it was yesterday. This truck runs over something. I'm like, what is that? And it kicks it up in the air. 50, 60 feet in the air, and I'm watching. It's like slow motion. And what in the hell is this? And it lands on my windshield. And I start to examine this object. And it's a diaper.
Nuh-uh.
And not only is it a diaper, it's a shitty diaper. And so I'm thinking, oh my God.
For the record,
This
Han
kid-
and I are both shaking.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Did you just wake up from a nightmare or something?
No, this is a true story. This is how
This is your first day on the job.
my career started. Okay. And so I'm looking
It's
at
shitty
this,
so far.
I'm looking at this shitty diaper
No pun
on my
intended.
windshield, and I think, oh my God, is this happening? What do I do? First off, windshield wipers, right?
Oh,
Flick it
God.
off.
Oh, abort plan. Abort plan.
Broken plan, absolutely. So I hit the windshield wipers, and it just smears the contents of said diaper all over the windshield.
But this goes along with my lessons learned.
Lessons learned. Absolutely.
Next time a diaper hits your windshield,
if you're ever caught in this scenario.
And so I drive, it's 2-lane road. There's nowhere to pull off. There's nothing to do. So I'm driving, 15 miles, and I'm having to look at this literal crap on my windshield. I'm like, what do I do? I'm gagging. My eyes are watering. All this stuff.
Jesus. Did they hit you in the face?
Well, it's
the stink.
It's
stink.
terrible.
He had the outside air vent up.
Okay,
probably.
Okay, all right.
And so, fast forward, I get to the to my job, and clearly I'm frazzled. And this wonderful lady that I work for, Paula, she said, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And so I go through everything, all of the stress that I'm under, and school, and the shower, and the shitty diaper, and all of the things that are going on.
Did you literally tell her about the shitty diaper?
Absolutely.
I think they saw the shitty diaper as he was putting it on.
How could you not?
They all get together.
How on his cheek.
So if I was your colleague at your first job, and Han was there too, I would be like, well, that's shitty than you guys here, right? And we would have kept this going, and you wouldn't even realize that it was happening.
And it would still be going today.
It would probably. I would never let it go. His retirement speech, I would say, remember the time you rolled in your little Corolla with shit all over your windshield, and then you tried to pretend it didn't happen, but then you cried to Tammy about it, but we all knew what was going on.
It was Paula. Come on.
It was Paula.
It was Paula.
So I'll never forget what Paula said to me though. This is profound.
Don't tailgate?
No, even better. She said, look, this is the first day of your career. And it's the worst day of your career. It cannot be worse than this. So no matter what happens to you from here on, it's got to be better. And I can tell you, in all of the jobs that I've had as technology, project manager and CIO and IT director and all of these things, there have been many days where the wheels have just started to come off. As everybody knows, you have those days. And I think about that shitty diaper on my windshield, I'm like, this is not that bad.
That's powerful, though. That really is.
And that was as funny as that moment was, and I look back on it and think, did that really happen? It was one of those things that gives you some levity.
Yeah.
Throughout the rest. I've been an IT professional for 25 years, and I still think about that.
Can I make a comment about that? And have you told Paula since that's happened how much of an impact that day had on you?
Absolutely. So I stayed in contact with her for many, many years afterwards, and we did laugh about that, and she remembered it vividly.
Were you guys MySpace friends?
We were MySpace friends. And then,
do you even know what MySpace is? Come on, don't throw that around. Like, do you know what that is? If you, okay,
I read about it.
I'm more sure as very well.
If you didn't do the HTML code, you weren't there.
Yeah.
No, if you know, you know.
I know how to code myself to be bold font. I know how to do that. I mean, that's pretty easy, right?
It's really a powerful story, and I think those types of stories really create who you are as a person, but also who you are as a professional, and the impact, like we talked about earlier, that you can have on other people. And so knowing of like where you started through all of that, the shitty diaper, and then where did you end up now that has really kind of come full circle? So I can see it.
And one thing I would say is that why you drive a big fucking truck now? So now the shitty diaper can't get you on the windshield? Because I've been
now
in the truck.
I'm throwing the diaper.
Yeah, I've been in your truck, and your truck's pretty damn large.
Yeah, I'm throwing the diapers now. So you're right. I mean, it did have as goofy and corny as that story is, it shaped who I am as a professional, right? Mm-hmm. It gives you the clarity when you're thinking through these things. Like, it's not bad. Yeah, I heard somebody the other day. I was helping a client of ours with a ransomware event, and the staff was clearly rattled, and there were some members of the team that were near tears, and one of the guys said, look, we're not storming the beaches of Normandy. Nobody's dying here, okay? We're going to be okay. Take a breath. It's fine. And that's that type of mentality that you have to survive in this world that we're in.
And I will say, I have witnessed, I got a phone call from you once at like 5:45 in the morning.
Are you going to bring this up?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
I am. And I've never heard someone ever call me so calmly at 5:45 in the morning. And the conversation went just like this. Hey, Pat. How are you? I don't want to sound like why I sound like on the other side because the office was clearly it was 6:45. Right? Yeah. I was like, I'm doing good, Jarrett. What's up? Hey man, I'm just having this issue. Is there any way you can help me, resolve this? Yeah, man, it sounds like a pretty big issue. Yeah, it is, but I have faith in you. And I was like, okay.
And that's the wisdom.
And it was the most calmest conversation I had because I'm used to somebody calling me at 5:45 in the morning.
With hair on fire.
Yeah, hair's on fire, shit's going crazy. Yeah. And you were so calm about it. And you're like, all right, man, well, just thanks for helping me out.
Yeah. That's a leader.
And it was so calm.
Yeah.
And I was almost like, should I go back to bed? Like, this doesn't really sound like a big part of this.
The next call would have been a call.
But honestly, I think that all of us, I mean, Tracy has to talk me off a ledge.
Every day.
Almost every day, if not twice a day. I think it's also too, and I mean, I never like to use that geographical way of thinking and whatnot, but sometimes it is, right? And in the Northeast, we're taught, we're very high strung, we're very go, 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 we're very like, you need to perform, you need to do this, you need to do that. And what I've learned when I came to Trax, you'll get a funny story out of this, but she had to hire a consultant just to get me to learn how to talk to people in the South because I came from that mentality that is like, you're useless, move out of my way, like let me take care of this. And realistically, is that person probably just didn't have the information they needed to do what they needed to do. And I came with that bulldog mentality, right? Like, bull in the china shop. And I learned very quickly that that's not how things work. And to your point, we're not storming the beaches of Normandy. We're not, this is not the last ride that we're doing here, right? It's not Han in the military, right? We're not going through that part of it.
Thank goodness.
It's really enjoying peace, right? Go ahead, Jan.
Well, did you just call me Jan? He totally
I said Han. I said Han.
Oh,
I said Han.
I heard Jan.
I'm old.
Well, I was just going to add to what you said. So, and I know because it took me a while to get to where I needed to be, and I still didn't even get there. But parts of what I did want to say is so one of the things that I've really enjoyed throughout my career is just meeting different people.
Yeah.
Getting to talk to people from different walks of life, different cultures, and really understanding that because I feel like what a lot of people kind of miss in terms of working with whomever is just kind of understanding the people that you're working with, right? Like I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of successful teams in particular projects because it was just the personalities. It was somehow I got lucky that the group of people that were pulled together for this project. We did this and we all had hard times, we had good times, but at the end of it all, once it was all said and done, you were like, man, I can't believe we made it through that, but somehow we did, and you're just kind of like, high fives, kudos, and then it was just like, all right, now I can go to bed for 48 hours or whatever it is, and it's just like, it's all done, terminal's opened, or project, or whatever it may be, and I really love just working with different people, and just kind of just having that camaraderie in the things that you do in life, and just with Jarrett, with him talking about was Paula, right? I mean, so you go through phases of your life where you meet those people, and so the people that mentored me over the years without realizing they were mentoring me, and things that were said to me, and I thought you're right. So I'll give an example. One airport client that I had, and I was new to this role, and I went to him and I had this problem, and I said, hey, so for this project I've got this problem. He said, hey, he's like, so you know what? He's like, you were brought on because you're the subject matter expert. You're supposed to know this stuff. He's like, I understand we've got a problem, whatever. He's like, but I would appreciate it if you come to me with options to this problem. He's like, I don't want to solve this problem for you.
Yep.
I need you to solve this problem for me. He said, you might come to me with 3 options. I may not like them, and I might say, go back and come up with other options.
Yep.
And that was such a learning moment for me. He wasn't mean about it. He wasn't an a-hole about it. He was like, look, you're the expert here. I need you to tell me what I need to do. And that was such a key learning moment for me. And it's just the people that have mentored me over the years, just that, I still remember that to this day. And I tell people that all the time. I was like, yeah, I was I was hired to do this job, and I didn't realize like he was expecting
Absolutely.
an answer from me and things like that.
And I think that goes to a great question. So we all have that like one mentor, right, that really makes an impact. I don't know if Paula was your mentor or not, but
it sounds like Tammy was.
But Tammy, Paula, but like who?
Oh,
So it sounds
Tammy.
like that person really shaped your how you lead, how you think through problem statements. Jarrett, what do you think about yours? Like, did you have that one pivotal moment from a mentor?
Oh, absolutely. And I hate, very hesitant to mention this person's name because.
Well, you don't have to.
No, I'm going
Do
to
it,
because
do
we're,
it,
we're
do
actually
it.
very,
Jane Doe,
we're very close friends now.
I'm right here.
I just know his
I'm right here.
ego. His name is Patrick. No, so there was a kid that, when I was at school at Ole Miss that his name was Stratton Lindley, and
Boy, that's so Mississippi.
It's actually a kid from North Carolina, believe it or not.
I don't believe
What a nerdy name, Stratton Lindley. So
Oh, I love
he knows
it.
that. Okay, so
not nerdy, that's Southern.
That
That's
is
just
Southern, and I
So-
love it.
So Stratton was the smartest kid in the building.
Mhm.
He was a senior when I was a sophomore.
Is he also good looking? He was good looking.
He was not good looking. But he knows that. Okay,
He took time.
Sorry,
from you.
Stratton.
he did not take him. He wishes. So Stratton would not talk to me. He was clearly the smartest person, not only in the team that I worked for, but in the building and probably on campus. He literally one of the smartest people I've ever met, and,
Wow.
and I can hear his head growing right now if he ever hears this. But I thought I need to be next to that guy,
Yeah.
and that. To be successful in life, you need to surround yourself with successful
Absolutely.
people, and that was one of the life lessons that I learned. And again, I don't know if I was smart or just lucky, but I said to myself, get next to him, learn how he learns things, how he communicates with people, because he commanded so much respect. As a senior, he's telling other engineer professionals that were working on campus there how to do their jobs and how to do it better. And I thought, I need to be like this guy. And we formed a friendship, and we're still very close to this day. He is still one of the smartest people I've ever met. But that, again, one of those moments in your
Yeah,
life. Like,
that's
I could have said, he's an ass, and I don't want to be
I
anyone
don't know if I like
him.
this guy. I feel like I'm jealous somehow. I just all of a sudden got jealous of this guy.
I want to, if you're going to walk through the door and you guys knew, it's going to be one of those.
You guys calm it down. Calm it down.
Right.
But
So what I was gonna say is that that is we talk about this all the time, and we just talked about this recently with somebody, not in a podcast, actually at a leadership conference for another firm. Is you cannot be a strong leader by understanding that you know everything, right?
Right.
And you are to surround yourself
Right.
with smarter people around you.
Absolutely.
Smarter people surround themselves with smarter people.
And that's
around them.
how leaders fail. Right?
Absolutely.
They're scared to hire people.
Absolutely.
I have never been, not anywhere close, the smartest person on any team that I've ever met.
absolutely.
Not even close.
I'm not absolutely.
Now,
Yeah, you're very smart.
no.
I'm saying for me. Like,
Now the people on this couch, I'm probably the smartest.
What I was going to say is that prior to this podcast, you couldn't figure out teams. So, like, we were trying to figure this out. But you do hit a valid point, and I always say this, and I mean, I don't want to sound corny or in any which way, but you are who you surround yourself with.
Absolutely.
Right? So you surround yourself with chickens, then you're a chicken. You're
Right.
just going to be, that's what you are, and that's what you're going to be. But if you surround yourself with people who strive for excellence, strive for them, want to share that same type of drive that you do,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how much of there's a connection there to do it.
Absolutely.
And we talk about all the time on our team is we don't believe in failure. Failure is not an option for us. Failure is just like opportunities that
To
have
learn.
been found, right? And to learn, right? I'm not the smartest guy. I hate numbers, right? And you guys talk about yin and yang, and that's how we see our business partnership as yin and yang. Tracy does things in our organization that I don't even want to do. I have zero interest to do. Don't care. Don't even want to learn it, right? In aspect at times. And as I do things that that's things that do not excite her in which way. And
Yeah.
I see that in you guys back and forth all the time.
Yeah.
I know we joke and we have great times, but I do see that. And we were talking about this today before this podcast. We're like, these two, Han and Jarret, they feed off each other. It's almost like they're there to support each other, and what one is strength and one's weakness, they combine it together and they have one package, right?
Yeah, and that's what makes us so successful, and that's why we enjoy working with each other. I've known Han for 14 years now, probably.
Close to
something
it,
like that. So he,
Was he in 7th grade? Because it took 14 years.
That's when he
It took 14 years
he
to get
worked
to
in the
7th
cash
grade.
register, right?
Yeah.
I don't have the pillow talk that you two have. Okay.
So I came from the airport world.
Right.
I know the former airport executive. Han has been a consultant the majority of his career, and we complement each other really well because we have different perspectives on everything, right? I see it from the airport perspective or from the client perspective. I remember the things that frustrate me. Okay, these are the things that I really did not like.
Right.
Okay, Han sees it from a consultant perspective, and that's why we've been really,
Beautiful marriage.
That's why we work well together. He loves to talk. I don't talk nearly as much. I mean, all of those things. It just works.
Han's trying to talk right now.
He's trying to talk. Maybe turn his microphone. But yeah, it's just work great.
We'll ask our producer the microphone.
So I've got a comment. So I'm sorry we didn't get to this part because obviously, as everyone knows, I took a little too long to get to the point, and I still haven't even gotten to the point. But when he and I started working together at Meet and Hunt, so one of the comments that I didn't really get to is one of the things I learned was self-awareness. There are certain things that I like to do and not do, and when we came there, I was like, I don't want to do any of this stuff, but I was like, but I know a great guy that would want to do all these things. And even when I was on my own, I outsourced things. I'm like, no. I was like, I could save $1 or $2 by doing it myself, but in all reality, it's just better if someone else does it.
Right.
And so this is when you guys mentioned the yin yang with Jarrett and I mean, there are certain things that he does really well, especially when it comes to managing people, dealing with people. And I'm not saying that I don't deal with people well, but it's
No, I think that was a soft.
Everybody's got it.
Everybody's got it.
But you're right. I mean, he does things really well that I don't do really well, and I recognize that. And I'm like, because Meet and Hunt, when we first started, they're like, can you do that? I'm like, no. I'm not your guy for that. If that's what you want, you need to hire Jarrett Morgan to do that part of it. And they're like,
props to you. You were recommended highly, and that's incredible from Han. I don't know if you take that as a compliment.
Well, I think I was his third or fourth choice. But
gentlemen, so you guys both have such incredible stories, and unfortunately, I wish we could talk all night. But we do have to eat at some point. The bourbon will catch up with us.
Yeah, and the equipment runs out of battery.
The last question that I have, and I don't know if Pat has another one, but one thing that I'm super, super, ultra passionate about because I've gone through this, my own entrepreneur journey. I came from family business, created my own business, and I have gone through, Lord knows, the ups and downs of just figuring it out. I mean, everything from how do you fund it, how do you grow it, how do you deal with airports? How do you make them happy? Why they don't pay you? No offense. Memphis was never like that. but the airport, government procurement's different. But how do you manage all this stuff as a small business? So going around it, what would be your advice to someone who wants to start a business? Take airports out of it, right? Let's just talk about the fundamentals because you both are so well-rounded and learning about business from 7 years old all the way up to where you are, Han, and to where you are now. But what would be that piece of advice you would give to an entrepreneur who wants to start their business?
Oh my gosh, are you going to me
And
first?
Han, yeah, you got 2 minutes. I'm watching the clock.
Oh, I only got 2 minutes? Okay. So I would say that if you're in that getting ready to go out and you're
ready to go out, yep.
Yes. I mean, so it's definitely a mindset. You need to be ready to go that role because you need to be able, there's a lot of stuff that's entailed with that, right? So you need to be able to go the distance. You need to be prepared for all the things that comes with that. Now, the other part of it that I think is I mentioned this earlier, the self-awareness part.
Yeah.
You need to be able to do the parts that you're good at, right? And the parts that you're not good at, I don't want to say you shouldn't waste your time with it, but you really need to find others that are better at it than you because exactly. So whether you hire somebody, whether you outsource it, whatever. And the other part of it to me is have fun with it. It's not everybody is willing to do that, and it's a tough road to go down, but it can be so rewarding because when things don't work out, you're going to learn from it, and maybe it'll help you evolve and stuff like that. But when it does work out, it's just the greatest feeling ever, which you guys have had happen, right? And it's kind of you're like, man, I did this, and this. That didn't work out, but this worked out, and you're kind of and it's just a really gratifying thing, at least to me, when I've gone through, it's it worked out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and
you're gonna come through at the
yeah,
end.
and so you put in hard work, but I mean, honestly, like, I say there's a little bit of luck involved, and I'm sure people are like, well, now I planned and did this, and I'm like, but no, I mean, like, really, like, you do need a little bit of luck to make, I feel like, to make some of this work out, but at the end of it all, I mean, because when things work out for you, because you put in a lot of hard work, effort, planning, whatever, working with whomever, and all this stuff, and it's just very gratifying at the end of the day, right? So, and it's just fun to be in that moment, right?
I couldn't agree more. I think the pivoting the piece of enjoying every ride, because you're going to have to dance, right? Things are going to be thrown at you that you could not have planned. You could not have predicted. I've gone through that every day of my life. I did not predict all of the things that were thrown at me. But you have to dance with it. But you also have to find that joy in it. And I think if you lose that joy, that's a dangerous game. Because then you cycle down into it's a dark side of it. But if you can find joy, even a little bit, right? Like every morning when you wake up, you have a long list of shit you gotta deal with, but you can find joy in at least a little bit of it. You can wake up in the morning and just strive to be better, strive to make an impact on other people. So Jarrett,
no, I think you guys nailed it. Honestly, it's surrounding yourself with good people.
Yeah.
So when you have those lows,
yeah,
you know that somebody's got your back, and I think that's so important, right? The other thing is really take the time to enjoy the highs, the good moments, because those can sometimes seem very few and far apart. So enjoy the moment, because it seems like yesterday I was a young professional, and now I look around the room like, oh man, I'm one of the older guys in the room.
You are still a young professional.
When you see that and you look at me, I'm moisturized.
Right.
So it's very deceiving.
You're not.
We learned last episode, Pat exercises. There's no stretch marks.
I do. I exercise. I have no stretch marks.
Do I look surprised? But I didn't mean to look surprised.
But
hey Patrick, as a Korean, we have the skin routine. So
ooh, yeah, you can't.
I have the same routine.
They mastered.
Oh, you have the same routine?
Yeah.
No,
well,
Koreans mastered the skin routine.
So I think one of the biggest things that came out of all of this, I think, is really one, getting to know you guys and who you guys are. But I think one of the final questions that I had, because I have a couple of questions. Han took so long to do his version, so I have to squeeze this in. But just really quick, and the part of, what do you guys want to see for the future for you guys? I mean, we talked about your past, we talked about the current business. What is something that you guys strive to do, right? It doesn't have to be a career change or nothing of that nature, but is it that the work-life balance, starting to balance out, now you get to a certain point in your life where you want to start enjoying a little bit more life, a little bit less work, or finding that easy fit for you?
Yeah, I think, work, at this point in my career,
I know that you're like Rambo. So
right.
You pretend to be Rambo.
Right. So 25 years into this, absolutely, work-life balance is really important. But it's the work. When I'm at work, I don't want it to be work. I want it to be something that I'm passionate about, and that's why I became a consultant. I really love technology. I really love the aviation world. I wanted to marry those two and be able to do that and be passionate and do the things that I love to do. And that's what I'm focused on right now. Doing things that I want to do. I've earned that. I've done all the, I've been the cashier and I've been all the other things that I didn't want to be. I've earned the right to do things.
Did you work with Han at that store?
I worked for Han. No.
No. Actually, you were Al Bundy, is what it sounded like.
So what we're trying to build is something that's special, right? And so we have this different perspective, but it's we want the passion to come through,
right?
Okay, and provide something that's different. Something that shows that we have energy and we love what we do, and I think that's why we've been really successful early on.
Yeah, and I know that we all joke around all the time because we see each other on a circuit and whatnot, but that's one thing that I would say about both of you guys, that when it comes to talk about business, you guys both share that same passion and that fire on it, right? And it's with Han, it's funnier because we could be in a full-blown conversation about football, drinking, and then we transition over and we're talking about work, and it's so passionate. It's the same passion, right? Same passion, and I can see where that bleeds into your personal passions to your professional. And when you can marry those two things together, it makes life go a lot easier and smoother.
If you don't love what you do, you'll never be good at it.
I fucking love toilets, and I don't know, somehow I ended up in a smart restaurant.
There's so many jokes. I'm shaking right now. I'm shaking.
I mean, there are definitely a lot of guy jokes when it comes to that comment.
But you're right. I mean, you have to find something that you love, or you're not going to be good at it.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay. And everybody in this world can be okay. So what does it take to be the next level?
Absolutely.
To be good at what you do, to love what you do, to love the people that you work with, whether it's Han or whether it's our friends from Tracks. You have to love that. Yeah. And I do. I love it. And I think it comes across, and I think that's why we, why we work so well together.
Yeah, we were both ready for that next chapter in our life, and with what we're doing right now. So aside from the corporate stuff, right? There's always going to be that, right? But like we I mean, at least for me, and I hope for you as well. And there's definitely parts of that we love what we do, and we're trying to like build something that works well for. So when I say this, I look at the community, like the things that we consult on, design on, stuff like that. I personally hope it's for the betterment of what we do, right? So whether it's an airport or whatever, like if we're talking about an airport, like that we're designing it well, that it's better for the passengers, better for the people that run or operate the airports from a operation and maintenance, whatever it may be, right? Because and there's the little piece of me as I try and be a good dad in this sense, like that, like, so my daughters are always like, so you're an airport constructor, right? And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I am.
Nailed it.
It's so funny because I was listening to you talk, and the first thing that came to my mind is, if Han ever wrote a bio, it may be longer than Lord of the Rings. And that shit is 988 pages. And I read it. I know.
I've got a lot to say. I'm sorry. I do.
Honestly, if you have a hard time sleeping, listen to podcast 3A. All right? I'm just saying.
But the other part of it, though, is it's just honestly, I mean, to me, it's having fun, living life. I mean, like, we've got a short time with what we do, and to me, it's like, I just want to maximize our time in what we do. So, and I'm having fun, I'll say.
Yeah, and I think a big part of this, and Tracy and I have been friends for a while, and outside of work life, we also communicate all the time outside of work, and we've always shared that where it's very easy and very beautiful when you can marry your work life and your personal life, right? And a lot of people always have this state of like, oh, you should keep those two things isolated from each other.
Yeah.
And I don't think you should, right? I think that it becomes of who you are, right?
Mm-hmm.
You spend a majority of your time working and with your colleagues. You should build that camaraderie together.
Yeah, you and Jennifer on my speed dial.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you should probably start using that because you call too much. But that
speed dial what? 1, 2, 3.
I think I'm 7.
I'm 7.
Yeah.
Let's not give myself too much praise. I'm maybe double praise, to be honest with you.
Probably the last one.
But I do believe that. I mean, even the way what we've done at Tracks, right? It's a whole team, collaborative environment, but we've worked very closely together to build this, and I consider her a friend of mine. I consider you guys personal friends, and I think you feel the same exact way, and all of that stuff tying in together makes what we do that much better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And so in other industries, you go through this process, right? You go through all of this, and it allows you to have fun while we're doing. I look forward to going to conferences to see you guys. Right, and I know she does as well, but it's awesome. It's awesome to be like, you know what? At this conference, we're going to talk about work, and as soon as we get out of this, we're going to go have a quick drink, and we're going to talk about your kids, what's going on in your life, what's going on in your kids, all personal things that we have going on. But we can blend those two things
together.
We're all humans
at the end of the
Absolutely, and then when you add that human element to this thing, it makes it that much better. It's like that shitty diaper that you have, right? And you remember these stories.
But it's the concept of like, I think it's more modern, but talk about tribes, right? Like, you want to surround yourself, and we mentioned this earlier, people that that have the same mentality about what you want to do in life and stuff. And like, so like when I, hang out with you guys, like I appreciate the fact that like with what you do, like you're passionate about what you do, which excites me about what I want to do working with you guys for an airport and stuff, right? Because I know that you guys want to provide the best product or service possible for an airport and things like that. And so so your journey becomes part of my journey, which I really enjoy as well, because then we all just have a great time just trying to do things well for, whether it's for the airport, whether it's society, community, what have you, right? Because I mean, I don't want to go so deep as to say as like I want to leave my mark, but like I want to be better. Like I want to do better for. I want to have an impact.
Yeah, please don't go too deep. Our producer's very expensive.
I want to have an impact. I guess.
What I will say is, if it's possible, and that's the flight attendant I want to tell you to get off the phone. Right, we're about to take off. Aspect of it is, if you could just leave. If you can summarize it in just one sentence of what you would tell someone who's not just an entrepreneur, but an entrepreneur, someone who's looking to grow in this profession, right? And what you guys do, what advice would you give them in one sentence? Han, I know this is very hard for you.
I know, you gotta give me
one sentence.
One sentence. What do you think would be the best?
We're behind time now.
Be true to yourself.
Okay, Jarrett, guys, be true to yourself. Okay, Han?
Brevity, Han.
Han? You have 4 words.
So it's funny that you said because one of my
You've already passed the
is
4 words.
Have no regrets.
Have no regrets.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, I can't tell you how excited we are that you guys are part of this.
Yeah.
For us, this is something that started as a silly conversation at a bar. Don't surprise. And us doing this, we couldn't have thought of better guests than you guys to be our first guest to be part of this.
Cheers to you guys for the first ones.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It might have been 2 episodes, but it
If we
was
did-
3 episodes. The producer's saying
if we
3.
didn't stop it, we would be 3
Fine.
episodes. And,
No,
and
it's already 3.
our producer's working overtime.
I am so excited because I can't wait to look back at this day. Like, you guys remember when we recorded that podcast?
Thank you guys so very much. We love you, and let's go get some dinner.
Thank you so much.
All right,
for the
take
opportunity.
care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The producer said that's 3 episodes. Thank you guys so much.